Should have stayed, were the signs I ignored. Can I help you not to hurt anymore? We saw brilliance when the world was asleep. There are things that we can have but can't keep. If they say, who cares if one more light goes out in a sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, we're quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lex Morningstar, and this channel is about one of the MBTI types, INFP, which stands for Introverted, Intuitive, Feeling, Perceiving. So most of my content that I create is based on being an INFP. But today I want to cover a really important topic, which is to do with mental illness. I've decided to cover this topic because in the past 2 months we have lost 2 amazing musical legends due to mental illness and suicide. I'm sure many of you watching today have been greatly affected by the death of these 2 amazing people. Even if you're not a fan of Chris and Chester, you still can find yourself moved by the gravity of the situation. As you can see it come up on social media, it's you're forced to address this part of being a human being. I'm sure those of you who follow me have noticed that I've been MIA for the past month, and I feel that it's quite appropriate for me to do this topic because the past month I have been struggling with my own issues. So I feel I can deeply resonate with what's going on. This channel is about being real with all of you. I enjoy being able to express the depths of being a human, the depths of being someone like me with you. And although some people may view me in one way or another, in one negative light or another, it doesn't matter, because how I am is real. And for me to be able to express that, my aim is for other people to feel like they are less alone. And, I suffer from mental illness too. And that is, part of the reason why I want to cover this topic. First, I would like to cover clinical depression, because both Chester and Chris had suffered from this. I have suffered from depression in my lifetime. I do suffer from cyclothymia, as you know, a mild form of bipolar, and I also suffer from anxiety. But I want to talk about depression because this is such a widely misinterpreted illness. Depression isn't a state of mood. It is a mental condition which affects the chemical balance of the brain. Some of the symptoms include emptiness and hopelessness, angry outbursts, fatigue, loss of interest in activities, sleep disturbances, slowed thinking, physical ailments that are manifested, change in appetite. Maybe some people will eat too much or barely anything at all, and suicidal thoughts and tendencies. And these are just to name a few. Now, it's shocking to note that 90% of people who have committed suicide suffered from a mental illness. And a lot of those people who had suffered mental illness had gone undiagnosed or, had trouble reaching out for help. And between 15 and 44-year-olds, suicide is one of the top 3 leading causes of death. Now, as most of you know, I am a Kiwi. I'm from New Zealand, and it's really unfortunate to see a lot of our citizens here and our residents here suffer from mental illness. And it pains me to say that our rate of teen suicide is the highest in the OECD, and especially amongst our Indigenous youth. But not only that, our Kiwi men are twice as likely to die from suicide than Australian men. I just want to talk about men and mental health for a minute. I feel like in our Western world, men from birth are kind of taught to be these hardened creatures, these hardened people who kind of bite the bullet and carry on, who grow a backbone, who, if they do express emotion, they're deemed as weak, men who just get on with it and don't express their emotions, they're labeled as tough. It's this macho mentality, and I feel that, it is part of the reason why we have such high suicide rates among males. I have worked in the tradie community in New Zealand, and I can say that I can totally see where males who suffer from mental health, how much they would struggle being in that kind of community. In the tradie community, you are kind of expected to kind of take shit and give shit. But however, not everyone can handle a banter. And some of the time it's not even a banter. A lot of people who become tradies or, who have worked in the tradie community, a lot of them, are bullies. It's just like in every job you have, in every school you go to, and everywhere in life, in every group in life, you're going to have someone that is going to push your buttons. You're going to come up to challenging personalities. However, I think in the tradie community specifically, because it's such a male-dominated community, of course there is that macho mentality of being able to be a hard man, and it's such a dangerous thing, because any ounce of showing weakness or sensitivity, that's it for you. You are someone's bitch. And I've seen this firsthand, and it is really dangerous, because these people have no idea what the person with the mental health condition, what they go through, or whether they are close to suicide. And it could be one tiny little comment that could push that person over the edge. And these people feel that they cannot reach out for help because of this macho mentality. They feel like if they reach out for help, people are going to think that they're weak. And that is why I'm here today, wanting to talk to you about this issue, because I want to shed light on it for the fact that there is nothing weak about having a mental health condition. There is nothing taboo about talking about mental health conditions. There is nothing taboo or weak about suicide. And I feel that there are so many misconceptions in our society. I came across this post on Facebook not too long ago. It was along the lines of a woman asking her manager for some time off to focus on her mental health. And her manager was quite happy with this and kind of thanked her for being really open about that kind of thing. However, the comments on this post was absolutely ridiculous, and I was really appalled with how some people reacted. There were so many people saying, oh, you just got to get on with it, or, use your annual leave for your mental health days, or, just everything negative towards what this person was suffering from. And I want to say to those people, would you turn around to someone who suffers from pneumonia and say, you just got to get on with it, you just got to go to work, you just have to take your annual leave when you're feeling sick like this? Because a person who suffers from mental health issues, they sometimes it is so intense that these people physically cannot work. Chris and Chester are not weak, and they are not selfish. People who have mental health problems, people who suffer from depression, bipolar disorder, split personality disorder, these people have a chemical imbalance in their brains, and there are so many times where these kinds of people just want to escape their pain, and the only way for them to escape is to chase that feeling of numbness. They get to a point in their lives where they cannot see any hope for the future, and they think that they would be better off, that their families would be better off without them. It doesn't matter what kind of mark they've left on the world, or whether they're rock stars or business owners or scholars or anything under the sun. It does not matter. Depression is not going to discriminate against you whether you have a family or not. The symptoms of mental health can drive you to suicide. These families aren't going to appreciate seeing the fact that people think that their partners are selfish and weak. These families need compassion. They need people to say, we understand, and our hearts go out to you and your families, because these people do not see their partners in that kind of light. They see their partners as people who are struggling immensely with their health, and they just wanted some way out, a way out of feeling such darkness and despair and torment, because really that's what it comes down to. These people who suffer from mental illness are tormented every single day by the chemical imbalances in their brains. I have been there myself. I have thought about suicide at a few points in my life. I have been at rock bottom and thought that there was no return. Just 2 years ago, I was homeless, and I felt like I had no hope for my future. And I remember one morning I woke up, I was extremely hungover, and I thought in my head that I just wanted to catch a bus and go into the middle of nowhere, because I just didn't know where to go. I wanted to escape my pain, and I was just at complete rock bottom. All I could see was blackness in front of my eyes. I could not see a point of return. I didn't know whether I would be getting my daughter back or not. I needed someone to look at me with compassionate eyes and to pull me out of this blackness that I was in, and say, it's all going to be okay, and I support you, and let's move forward. While any personality type, any kind of person can suffer from mental health problems and suicide, I just want to briefly talk about being INFP and suffering from mental illness. From a few sources, I have found that Chris and Chester were both INFP, and I find it quite interesting because they're both artists. They are both artists in a world that doesn't appreciate art. And of course there have been instances in their lives which had contributed to their poor mental health. But as feelers, as people who express themselves in creative ways, I find that we are really expressive when it comes to our mental health problems. We are able to really reach out and connect with people who have the same kind of mental health problems and express ourselves in really creative ways. And I think, that's something that musicians, being feelers, what they do. And it's interesting, if you listen to some of the songs from Chester, they're very much, I listen to them and I listened to them in such a new way that I didn't before, and so many things make sense now about what he was going through, and he reached out. He really did. And all these people say that he didn't reach out and he should have reached out, but he did. He expressed himself within his music. He expressed himself within interviews. He showed that creative and expressive side of himself. I think a lot of the reason why INFPs are quite prone to suffering from mental illness is because of the fact that we value harmony, we value peace, and things upset us quite easily. Like the disturbances in the world, we want to be able to fix them, and we can't. We want to be able to pull everyone up and have everyone be harmonious and peaceful, but it is not the case. And we're in a world that doesn't appreciate art, and we're in a world that wants to encourage things that are superficial and hard, and again, that macho mentality. If you show any sign of weakness, you're just going to get stomped all over. And for an INFP, being sensitive and feeling kind of people, we really struggle with that fact, and we feel like we can't be ourselves in this kind of world. That's a lot of the reason why INFPs have our ideal worlds. If I ever get the chance to go to Helpline, I would in a heartbeat. That's why we're such good storytellers. Please excuse me if you notice any change in the camera. The camera actually went flat, and I went to go and get it, and it came off its stand. I went to go take it off its stand and kind of slipped past my hand and landed on the ground. And one of our lights aren't working, and so I'm using a salt lamp to light this part of my face. But anyway, just before I go, I just want to say that if you suffer from a mental illness, you are not weak, you are not selfish, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because they really have no idea what they're talking about. They are completely ignorant to what is going on, and if they did a little research, maybe they might learn to be more compassionate and empathetic towards such a very normal part of being a human being. If you need to reach out to anyone and gain some support, below in the description box I have put a list of mental health services that you can call. Also, at the start of this video, you could see my partner James play the song One More Light from Linkin Park. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I will link the full song down below as well for you to check out on his channel. Now, on another note, I have a lot of content coming on my channel, so please stay tuned for more INFP content, and of course the travel vlog that I keep saying I'm going to do. It's just really honestly finding the time, and as I said, this past month has just been a big flop. I've been really sick. I've had a tooth pulled, and I have suffered from my own mental struggles. So thank you so much for persevering. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I just want to hear about what you have all been through. So if you could drop a comment, that would be absolutely awesome, and I hope to see you all again next time. Bye.